This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. When Final Fantasy XVI gets brought up in discussion, I see many target its linearity as a flaw for the game. Just taking a step back from this, I don't see something being linear as being inherently bad. Like, linear doesn't automatically mean bad, and open or open world doesn't necessarily mean it's good either. Personally, I enjoy both types of games, and really enjoy switching between them to keep things fresh when I'm trying to play something. Sometimes I need something like Uncharted, where it's very A to B, or there are other times where I just want to sink my teeth into something like Deus Ex or Bigger, where there is so much to see and discover. As it pertains to Final Fantasy XVI, something I like here is how linear it is. It is generally very direct. Play some, watch some is pretty much how it goes. Honestly, at times I feel like I'm watching as much as I'm playing, especially in the beginning quarter of the game. To Final Fantasy XVI's credit, at least when it gives you control, you get to enjoy uninterrupted gameplay, usually with a series of battles to complete as you work your way to the boss. The structure to 16 honestly allows me to get something out of it, whether I sit down for an hour or a few. Now, having said that, the game does have issues, and I might even find more as I go deeper with this title. But today, I wanted to discuss what I thought of some of those actual issues with the game. First, I wanted to address what I think so many people are getting at when they say that Final Fantasy XVI is too linear. What I think they actually have an issue with is how the structure of the areas are within the game. For example, when you go into a dungeon, you pretty much press forward, with maybe a few side paths for additional encounters or rewards. Go back to the main path and then fight a boss or two. Watch some more cutscenes and then the area is done. I am fine with the dungeon being an A to B experience, but something that I think would significantly help these dungeons or more things within them that could give them a greater sense of place, along with helping to differentiate them between other areas, mechanically speaking. The dungeons do bring new enemies, exciting bosses, and even great and unique visuals. But something I noticed that is missing are elements or even one-off type things that you would see in prior titles, with dungeons feeling more unique. For example, if there was even some light puzzle solving, that would help you to progress within the dungeon, and something like this would kind of help to provide you with maybe even side paths with similar puzzles to do. Maybe you need to dodge a set of obstacles, and this is something you may need to contend with to complete the dungeon. Or maybe something hits your party, like having limited air, and you need to look for oxygen sources, or maybe the dungeon is too cold, and you need to find heat sources to stay warm. And if you don't, then your health will slowly go down. I remember these types of things from classic Final Fantasy games, or similar ones like it, and while I haven't beaten 16 yet, I haven't really seen a dungeon like this yet either. And you can have those interesting elements added in to your more linear structure, and it would fit right in. You're still going from A to B, but now while getting to B, you need to consider this new element that was not present within the last dungeon. I think this is partially what people meant by the game feeling linear. They want more variety in the gameplay mechanics for the dungeons to help spice them up, and have them feel mechanically different from the last one you did. To go along with this point, I want to point out the more open areas found within 16. At first, these areas can feel like a breath of fresh air compared to the prior dungeons. They appear to be bigger and wider than what we had with other dungeons, and I'll admit it's pretty fun to go around and then take out extra mobs of enemies for more supplies and experience. I do think that these areas could have been improved to make exploring them more impactful. For one, it really does not feel like I am exploring them. Outside of some chests that I found, it felt like I was running through a side quest type of area, but I didn't have access to all the quests that I could do just yet. I think the open areas could have benefited from having some more discovery. For example, I turned the corner on one and it seemed like I found a hidden secondary boss of sorts. The location looked like an arena, but I just fought some regular enemies there and that was it. I'm not saying that the open areas needs to be populated like an open world Ubisoft game, with dots everywhere for me to complete, but I think these zones should have had more optional quests found within them, and even some that you needed to bump into or be on the edges of the map too. Some of the side quests are like video game busywork or just excuses for more combat, which I'm generally fine with, especially if the combat is good and I like it here. The best side quests are where the narrative brings in another element and makes it feel like it's on another level or another story quest. Like when you earn your chocobo and now you have a mount for the open areas. This quest for the most part plays out like a typical one, and then the ending hits you with some feels. It was a nice touch. I think especially early on when the open areas are introduced, we needed some more of these quests early in the game and ones that we could discover through exploration, because when you never really know what you're gonna find, and it would push the player into seeing every part of the map and see what it has to offer and maybe the secrets that it contains. And going back to my prior point, if you're going to have an area that looks like a boss fight, then you might want to make sure to have that boss fight there when I discover it. I have experienced other issues while playing Final Fantasy XVI. For example, I really like the use of the in-game lore guide, and how you can pull it up quickly during any of the cutscenes as a refresher or for clarification. But I felt like for the first half of the game, especially in the beginning, you get tossed around seeing bits from different factions, and it's honestly hard to keep track of all this stuff. Things do eventually fit into place on the whole, with a lot of stuff going on in the background, with the meat of the story being focused on Clive and what he is doing and his group is trying to accomplish. I do enjoy the focus on Clive himself, but as it relates to the combat, I do think it's a bit odd that you cannot set behavior commands, or tell your party members to attack this or that enemy. You can give some commands to your dog, which is nice, but I think this should have been extended to your other party members as well. It would have been cool to set up combos and then order your AI to continue that combo as you get ready to build off of it. Another thing that I found odd was the lack of your group bantering with each other, especially when you're just wandering around the open areas. I don't need them chatting all the time, but it would have been nice to have them talking a bit more. It would have been a good way to deliver or summarize other plot points on the fly. Most of this video is definitely focused on areas that I think Final Fantasy XVI could improve on, but I do want to say here that I'm really enjoying this game a lot. It is wildly entertaining, and I really enjoy the combat. The linear nature is not what bothers me when it comes to the flaws, but there are elements about the game's design that I think could be improved to make everything better. Because if this team wants to make another single-player Final Fantasy game, I think they did a lot right here with this one, and there's plenty of notes that they could take from this and enhance and better a future game. Is linearity the problem? No, and I do not want their next game to swing completely in the other direction, because that really isn't the proper takeaway from this. I know this sounds simple, but I would look to the legacy games, even some of the PS1 titles, and see the variety, minigames, options, and other things that they were able to bring. Adapting some of those could be a great way to include for a future Final Fantasy title. What are your thoughts on Final Fantasy XVI? Is it too linear? Was it your cup of tea? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you would like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description. And thank you very much for watching.